As you guys know, I am Coach Becky, and I am really excited for this conversation today because I think that it's one that probably a lot of us have in our trade plan. You know, we have a system for how we approach our trading days, and I think for me, I didn't know what to do with it initially with my pre-market, my pre-trading plan as a newer trader. And so this was something for me that I developed over time, and I would hear what other people would do and I would think, oh, I like that. I want to try that. I want to see if it fits into my routine, and I would adjust. And then I would realize something I was doing was just more annoying me than supporting me. And so then I would cut it and I would try something else. And so it's been a years in progress system for me to figure out what my best intentions are for how I want to start my trading session in the morning, or if it's for power hour trading even as well. So that's why I thought this would be a good conversation topic. My good friend Waji actually brought it up when I asked for suggestions about maybe the strongest pre-market routine that we could each, delve into for our best setup for the day. And so the routines that really can set the tone for successful, consistent trading, I think are worth just talking about as a group, and then figuring out what other people do and what we can do and how we can adjust it. So today is a nice blend of my personal experience and then the best strategies that are out there from the different trader research that I could find and peak performance experts, so that we could all, set ourselves up for our best trading situation, because I think being prepared is going to give us the best opportunities at trading. And this is a highly leveraged situation that we're engaging in. So we need to take it seriously and treat it as such, right? That's important for what we're trying to do with this situation. So, let's get right into it, right? So why does it matter? So basically, this is a highly volatile profession, one of the most available. It's so easy to click buy and sell, but the risk and reward is heavy and rapid. And so that has to be factored in to our approach to trading. Like, it needs to be recognized that we're doing something that has a lot of power behind it. And so you want to be able to overcome your emotions and stay constant and confident and trade your system without fail. But to do that, you want to make sure you're kind of set up for the best approach. I love this Benjamin Franklin quote that probably a lot of people have heard: by failing to prepare, you're preparing to fail. Trading requires us to perform under pressure. I think that is the key element to this whole, the importance of this conversation, is because when you have to perform under pressure with high leverage, you want to do everything you can to make it manageable. And if you have a strong preparation system, you're going to be stronger, and your routine can be your anchor to a stable trading session. And so the most consistent traders generally always have a pre-market routine. I don't know, you guys maybe throw in the chat here if you have a pre-market routine that you already have. I want to know if people have a system that they lean into, or if they're more just kind of haphazard. They wake up and they get to it and they see their levels and they do their best with it. Or do you have something that you do? Yeah, Omaro and Coach Matt, definitely. Initially, I did not, I would say, and I started to fine tune it, a few months after starting to trade and realizing I needed to take it more seriously myself. And so for today, I kind of dug around and saw what other people do, what I do. And I have to tell you, I don't do all of these, but I do a lot of these. And so these are 10 different pre-market habits that I want to talk about today. Give some background on each of them, and then talk about what order we could do them in and what benefit they bring to you, who they kind of tend to speak to. Plan the trade the plan. Yes, that's literally, let's start with the first one, my friend. Breezy trading is on point. Okay, so habit number one has to be the night before, to be honest with you. So prep the night before. Now, how many of you do this? So I love this because it allows me this period after my kids go to bed. I open up my charts and I do a deeper dive into what happened during the day, what levels were respected, what levels were blown through and need to be deleted and updated. And then there's no leverage on at night. I don't trade at that time for me. And so for me, it's just calm, quiet time to process the day, update my levels, define my key levels that should stay on the chart, get rid of the ones that shouldn't, and then think about what scenario it could be setting up for. And so then also I love this part that I found of have you guys ever heard of, if you want to work out in the morning, set out your water bottle, set out your gym clothes, set out your tennis shoes, and then you're more likely to just get up and get in them because it's ready. Well, this can also be the same situation with your office, which I kind of love. Like, get your desk tidied up the night before, have your water bottle. If you are a cold water drinker in the fridge, set your coffee maker so you can just hit go in the morning. Make sure everything is set up. That way, when you want to get into it, you don't have to think as much in the morning about certain things that you can set up the night before, which is a little hack as well in terms of your physical environment. And then I think also this will set you up for a better situation of going to bed peacefully, because you have some idea about what the market did and how it played out and what might make sense for tomorrow, instead of just not even thinking about it and being haphazard and wondering what the day is going to bring the next day. So it eliminates more of the confusion with that. And I do love this quote by Whitney Young. It's better to be prepared for an opportunity and not have one than to have an opportunity and not be prepared. So that would be frustrating, right? To know you have this A+ setup that you can see often many times, but on this particular day, you went to bed late the night before and you forgot to get your charts ready, and then you overslept, and then it was setting up and you're rushing to your office and you're trying to load your trade system rapidly because you see it on your phone setting up, but you're not ready to execute. Like, that's a bummer. I think, I don't know, maybe it's happened to you, it's happened to me, and it sucks because you can't fully capitalize on the system that you have studied and can otherwise maybe have a killer day on. And so by being prepared all the time, if you're intending on trading the next day, that's a power stance for how you should approach your whole business of being a trader. And so in that way, the night before prep does reduce morning stress and decision fatigue. And your best days can often happen when your plan is already well underway the night before. It makes it a little bit smoother in the morning. And so just a little bit more background on this. We're going to talk a little bit about each line item here. And so this can be different per person based on what your trading system is, what your strategy is, but you can start with identifying structure. And so that can be previous days, highs and lows, the overnight levels that seem to be in play, and then the higher time frame zones. And so weekly, daily, hourly are something that I try to look at when I set my levels up the night before. And then that will often give me an idea of where liquidity might be and where I might expect a reaction the next day if we can get to that level. And so this, I start the night before sometimes, but I fine tune it in the morning. And that's my hypothesis about what might play out for my trade plan. And so you can start that the night before with what a bullish scenario might look like, what a bearish scenario might look like, and what factors are leaning towards each. And then also for swing traders, options traders, you can update your watch list and your alerts and predefine your risk parameters for the day as well. And so these are all things that you can think about in the evening before when you're at peace, sipping tea or what have you. No stress. It's just a mechanical prep. It's predictable, repeatable, unemotional. You have a system that you just check the boxes. And then honestly, that leads to better sleep for a lot of people, and me included, because I know that I have done the work to be in my best position to have the best morning that I can and to kind of hit the ground running the next day. So for this second habit is a gratitude practice. And I mentioned this in another lab, but gratitude is such a powerful emotion to wake up with. So we're talking now about the pre-market prep, if you're just joining us, and the best way to set yourself up for an ideal trading day. And I think now into the morning time, dialing in what your first thoughts are when you first come to consciousness in the morning will set the energy for your day in kind of a powerful way. And I think people think about energy in different ways, but by initially just starting in with not what do I have to do today, what's going on, what is this alert on my phone, but instead, like, don't go to your phone right away. If your alarm went off, of course, turn off the noise. But then I would encourage you guys to try this, if you don't already, is to just go inward for a few moments and just think about what you're grateful for, because gratitude may seem unrelated to trading, but emotional regulation is everything in trading, right? And then gratitude, I feel like it really stabilizes your nervous system before you face volatility. You're focusing on what you have in your life that is good and strong and stable. And it brings you into the day having that more positive mood, less stress, appreciating what you already have going for you. And you're already focused on abundance instead of lack. And so that kind of anchors you to a positive approach to your whole day by starting in that headspace. And so this is like literally, you don't even move your body or your head off your pillow in this situation. Is just going to a positive, thankful place. And then there were so many quotes when I was pulling together this presentation today. So I have a lot of quotes in here today because There are many people more wise than myself, but the more you practice the art of thankfulness, the more you have to be thankful for. And that's the essence of gratitude. And so for this, there's just some tips on that. So different ways to do it. Are we having any issues with Discord? Are you guys seeing my slides presentation? It's on simple morning gratitude routine right now. The team can see it. Okay. Sorry, Nacho. Maybe come out and come back in. So a couple ideas if you don't do this already. And I kind of already covered this, but cool. Thanks, guys. Mentally list 5 things that you're grateful for before leaving your pillow. And so it honestly can just be super fast. Waking up this day, my health, my family, this warm house, and high-speed internet. That literally 30 seconds could be what you do. Some people also do a gratitude journal. I have done this off and on over the years, and it really is very peaceful. Part of that week is where I'm at in my life or what I am doing with my morning schedule, but that's a great approach as well. And then there's digital prompts. You can do a personal recording. I've mentioned before as well, just on your memo app on your phone, you can record just less than 60 seconds of the things that you're truly grateful for with some nice background music and pop that in your ear first thing in the morning. And you're basically just priming yourself for where you want to prioritize being so pleased to be. Acknowledging the good you already have in your life is foundation for all abundance, Eckhart Tolle, he's excellent. And I think even just this 60 seconds, guys, it will shift your trading from scarcity to abundance, which that abundance mentality reduces impulsive behavior, because an abundance mentality, when you're trading with that, you recognize that the market is abundant and you will get a plus setup most days. And so to just prioritize being patient and letting those setups come to you, that is what we're aiming for with this early energy in your day. So some people do a lot of affirmations. And I have also enjoy affirmations. I think that they are a piece of the puzzle. They aren't I don't think that there's a magic to affirmations, whereas if you repeat that I am a world-class 7-figure trader exclusively, that will be the outcome. But I think that if you constantly are feeding your brain with the positive energy of who you want to be, it helps to set intention and identity. And so that can kind of pivot off of the gratitude. And so affirmations can help you basically define your identity. So when you're telling yourself that you're a disciplined trader, you're more likely to behave like one. And this whole energy behind affirmations, it's backed by neuroscience and performance psychology. I mean, the highest performing athletes in the world are big in terms of affirmations. Good, you should hear my voice. Our affirmations basically reframe our inner self-talk, right? And so instead of being like, gosh, I sucked last week, I hope I don't suck again this week, instead it's like, I follow my trade plan, and my trade plan will reveal some great setups today. And so if you can just switch that in your mind and hear the way you want to behave more often, then that is often how our behavior will gravitate towards. It will reinforce your discipline because your affirmations are going to be aimed at the disciplined trader that you intend to be. And so you can treat affirmations as like a mental breakfast, because you're basically priming your mind for how you want to approach everything in your trading day and bringing that positive energy into your approach. And so I don't think I think it's better when they're not grandiose, but more so with how you want to behave, not necessarily the bigger outcomes that you're striving for. So I like these as some possible trader affirmations. Now, there's different things you can find out there in the YouTube world that are already created by other content creators, but you can also make your own. And so to think about what speaks most to you. But I like it when they are focused on how you want to behave for your following your trade plan and executing to the best of your abilities. So I wait for high probability setups. I honor my protective stop and my intentional plan. The market is abundant and I am patient for my strongest opportunity, or my edge plays out over time. And so I definitely have done this and found tremendous value in it. And I would encourage you guys to create affirmations specific to your own style, your trade plan, what your current weaknesses are, and reframe those in a positive light. And so if your biggest issue is too much hesitation when you're trading, you might want to create a little affirmations track about I execute on my highest probability setups because my trading system has an edge. And just frame what you are hearing about your approach to your trading day in a positive light. And so you focus on the good, desirable behaviors. not I'm going to have a green P&L every day this week because I'm an amazing trader. Not as helpful, So kind of focus on what you need to hear in your mind to get yourself locked into the trading choices that you want to make in your day. Okay, so habit number 4 for your strongest pre-market morning that you could put into your routine is positive audio content. One second. So sorry. So depending on where you're at, if you're West Coast, East Coast, or not even in the US, you're going to have a different time zone when you approach the market. So for West Coast, for me, I don't have a ton of time in the morning, but if you're East Coast or you do have a little bit more time in the morning, there's definitely a lot of really good content out there that you could plop in your ear and just also help dial in where your mindset is at before you approach your charts. For example, if you have a commute to where your office and then you trade there, you could put something in, put some positive audio content in the background there. And then I'm going to tap this onto an exercise time. If you have time to get in some exercise in the morning, you could have positive audio content in with your exercise time, depending on how much time you have before your market trading session opens. But I do believe that part of who you become is based on what you're putting into your mind. So you want to feed your mind the highest quality input that speaks to who you are, the trader you want to be, the approach you want to have to your day. And so there's different options out there, of course. And so just find what speaks to you. There's different content on YouTube, podcasts, educational and supportive audiobooks. The next slide has some more specifics on that. But then Coach Riz, at Blue Sky has his morning show, which is just amazing. He's really a great trader and gives his levels pre-market. And so, that's always an option that I think you guys kind of know about. And then also, I love this tip that I actually stole from Mel Robbins, but create your own morning empowering playlist. And so songs that really jazz you up, but not in an aggressive way, just make you feel stronger and more powerful and the person that you are aspiring to be. Have a playlist that you can put in your ear when you have downtime that just keeps you in the energy of successful, positive, energized, honoring yourself, disciplined is another great option for this. But basically just something positive instead of distraction, noise, unhealthy, phone calls or social media is not as great. I think that this is you become what you read, what you listen to, what you watch, what you think. And so everything that's coming into your brain is shaping who you are and what you can put out from that brain. And so to try and dial that in the best you can is going to be a high priority. It's about priming your brain before stepping into a mentally demanding environment as trading is. You want to prime your mind with something that lifts you and supports you with who you want to be for your day. And so I did just throw in a couple of my favorites on here. I don't know if you guys have heard of all of these different options, but you can get some tips on here. Eddie Pinero is an excellent content creator, as is Ed Milet. David Goggins, a couple books and podcasts there. I mean, I had to talk about Market Mamas because you guys, that's my best friend podcast that actually brought Mike and I together and brought me to Blue Sky. And there I do review different books that have been powerful for my growth as a trader. And these next 3 books are 3 of my favorite that are not trading books. I think we all hear about a lot of the different trading books out there that are really great too. But The Obstacles of the Way, Grit, and The Confident Mind are 3 of my favorite books that helped shape me as a disciplined trader that weren't trading focused. And so those are up there for you guys. And then that empowering playlist too. So I just want you guys to think about who you are and what puts you in the best energy and headspace to perform at your peak, and then personalize what you do in this area towards you. You want it to energize you, but not distract you. And so sometimes for books, the pre-market time is not the best for that, unless maybe you do have a long commute and you can get a chapter in or something like that. So this could be something you also put into your afternoon wind down session as well. But, depending on your time, putting something good in your ear in the morning is cool. Okay. This one is kind of controversial. It's cold exposure. All right, raise of hands. Do you got any cold shower friends in here? Cold plunges? I have tried it and it is not my jam, not gonna lie. I have read the science behind it. Wim Hof actually has a ton of content out about cold plunges and the power of it boosting your alertness and your discipline, and it calluses your mind in order to be strength and honor it and say, I'm going to go in, I'm going to do it for a full minute. Yes. Okay. It's so cold, you guys. I've done a cold plunge, which to be honest, I like better when you're just getting into a cold tub. The cold shower is a hard, like I did it one time and I will not do it again. But I do respect the fact that it forces you to be highly alert and awake. It does great things for your immune system and your circulation. It trains stress tolerance in that way. It impacts your discipline. And so I think it's something that speaks to some people. I did read a report that said that even just a cold face wash will have a similar impact because you're forcing yourself to put that cold water on your face. It can wake you up. You can do what you said you're going to do by doing that cold water on your face. And it can teach you some resilience and some, calm under stress, which can transfer into trading. And so the different things, cold showers, ice bath, the face rinse. And it says out there, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say too, is we're coming into winter. My favorite, to be honest with you, is just stepping outside. So I have a Australian Shepherd. It absolutely counts. And in the morning when I come down to my trading office, I'm usually the first one down. And so I put him outside. And so in the winter, I will just step outside with him when I'm feeding him and just stand outside and take a few deep breaths. And it's cold. I get little goosebumps, but it like wakes up my lungs and my face and stuff too. So I think that counts. And I think that there's some evidence out there behind to not torture yourself, but it's controlled stress conditioning. So give it a try if you haven't. You never know. Thanks for your input, guys. Okay, so what about habit 6 for in the morning to give you your best like headspace for trading is morning exercise or stretching. And so morning exercise can really help you elevate your focus and alertness. Exercise creates great beneficial hormones and it improves mental clarity. And Nelson Mandela, I mean, everyone knows him. It's not the key to physical health, but to peace of mind. And so I think once you have, if you develop an exercise routine, you'll find, as I have potentially, that it really helps stabilize your whole person. It does make you stronger and leaner and a little, have a stronger body, but it really is grounding for your mental health and giving you just more focus and discipline and a calmer sense of being. You don't need a full gym session first thing in the morning. You could do that at some point in your day that works with your schedule. But I do think that there's a tremendous benefit, and so does science, of 5 to 10 minutes of movement helps activate your brain a little bit stronger. Oh, it's so cold in New York. So I think that there's different options for this. I think depending on, like I said, how much time you have in your day, in your schedule, before the market opens, before your trading session will impact this. But you could even just do a short 5-minute routine or a quick walk around your block, or something light, movement. The fact that you're moving your body and you're getting your blood to circulate just a little bit quicker, it matters more than the duration of your activity. It's about more activating your body before settling into your chair for a trading session. It get just that increase in blood flow and positive endorphins and hormones will also just set you up for a stronger position to execute from, to be focused, right? Okay, so this one I really enjoy, and I think I am preparing to do a psychology lab all about these two things independently. But I think in bringing part of visualization and or meditation, I'm going to do them as a group, into your morning is important because it really quiets your mind. And I think operating your trading day from a quieter mind is really important. It builds a mental rehearsal. So visualization, I love that it builds that mental rehearsal. And then doing that, it will reduce your anxiety if you let it and strengthen your discipline and ability to focus. And this plays in with your brain's literal mechanism, your neuroplasticity, your reticular activating system that sets you up for how you approach everything. And so visualization is used by athletes, CEOs, world-class performers. When you visualize yourself executing your plan flawlessly, it takes the unknown out of it and it takes the pressure off. It backs off the pressure because basically in your mind, you have already considered what it would look like to execute at your level, sitting through a little bit of bounce, and then it going to your targets, or conversely going against you and taking out your stop, but you're okay. Your accounts are safe. You had a protective stop for a reason. And when you honor your trade plan, over time, your trading account grows and you're successful. And so in your quiet time when you're not trading, you're visualizing vividly what it looks like to execute to your best ability. Then it's less of an unknown when you comes time to actually execute. So for different on the visualization first, the ways that I do it and my understanding is, meditation, Jermaine. Yeah. So for visualizing, I'm going to tackle first. So when you are thinking through, close your eyes and in a seated position, if that's the most comfortable for you. But basically, you want to bring it into your vision through your closed eyes, your best trading behavior, a perfect trading day. And that it doesn't necessarily have to be a green trading day, but it can be a day where you followed your trading system and you honored your rules and your edge. And visualize it both ways, when your edge works perfectly and you have an excellent P&L day. And then also when you're stopped out and your system says you're done for the day, and you go about having a great rest of your day because it doesn't define your success as a human. And then future lifestyle goals, you can visualize what it will look like in 5 years when you have kept up the work you're doing now and become an even stronger, steadier trader and allowed your goals to compound. You can visualize what that will look like over time. And so this helps stabilize your emotions and your brain in terms of this is who you are. And so when it comes time to actually perform on the charts, your mind and your actions and your decisions will gravitate to that quicker. And so your brain does respond to imagined experiences almost similar to real ones. And so you can use that to your advantage by basically visualizing in vivid detail what your best setup looks like, and you make it feel real. You see yourself in them. It's you at your computer doing your best, executing. It's your favorite mug in your hand, sipping your coffee. It's you managing and adjusting your stop loss as your trade plays out. And that makes it even more real in your mind. And then meditation is similar energy, but a different approach where you're just trying to, there's different ways. You could do guided, breath-based, or just quiet meditation. And I think that this is different for everyone. Some people are highly skilled, and I envy them because this is something that I'm currently working on getting better with because I've seen and felt the benefits of it. And so if you are newer to it, you can start with a gentler approach, which is the guided meditations or the organized breath-based meditations that we talked about last week. We talked about mindfulness, I think it was. But basically, you can have structure to it where you're listening to someone else or some beats or focusing on your breath count. And that can help you quiet your brain down and focus on what either the voice in your guides or just your breath work. And by tuning out extra noise, it will help improve your focus when you need to perform. So you don't want to overthink it or push it or think that if you can't do a full 20-minute session, you're too distracted, you're too busy, you don't have the time. Doing something will start to add up and will start to build a practice for you, which is something that I've had to come to terms with, that this is not something that I can be perfect with a full 30-minute, my brain is quiet the whole time and I nailed it. But consistency with trying every day starts to build the practice with this if it's something that you want to work on. And I think the goal of meditation is not to control your thoughts, but it's to stop letting them control you. And so to be able to say, I don't need to have this noise in my life. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to be super focused on this one thing. That is really a powerful approach to quieting your mind and setting yourself up. And so for your pre-market routine, you can pick one or both and fit them into your schedule with how much time that you have and which one speaks to you to the most benefit and that you feel the most comfortable with. And again, I think we have to personalize these things to make them the most successful in our routine and to do them, right? And to say that someone else saying to do this because it works for them, so I'm going to do it. If there's resistance there to the whole practice in general, it might not serve you. And it might be something you need to practice in a different situation than your pre-market routine, because what you're choosing to do before you execute needs to build you up and make you feel confident about who you are and bring you the most peace. Not that I'm wondering if I'm doing it wrong and is this right and so does it better than me, whatever. So do meditation, visualization, like make them your own and try them in small doses if it's new to you, and figure out how to make it the most beneficial for your setup in the morning. Thanks, guys. Okay, this one I love because it can go in with the journaling if you're a morning journaler, or it can even be something that you have posted in your office. And that is to review your why. And so this is something that I got from Jim Rohn from one of his speeches years ago. And that's about like the why of what we're doing. The why of what you're doing is so important to why you're putting yourself through this, right? Trading is not easy. It's stressful. You're going to lose money. There's a lot of energy, a lot of emotions, ups and downs that you'll go through in your first couple of years as a trader. And so constantly refocusing on why you're sort of putting yourself through that will be really beneficial. And so I think it will anchor you to your discipline and why you're going to honor your trade system, why it's important that you honor your protective stop. And it will help you reduce your impulsive trading and revenge trading, help you be more resilient. Because when we can focus in on why we're doing what we're doing, it will strengthen our self-control over time because you know what's at stake. And so it makes you want to trade with integrity and honor what you intend to do to be your most powerful self on the charts, to honor your discipline to the most extent because you know you're working for these things. And so if you haven't considered your whys, I would say just take a moment if you do your journaling to spend, 10, 15 minutes on just really digging into your heart on this one of why you want the money, right? I mean, we trade because we want a fat bank account, right? But what is that going to do for you? How is that going to change your life? Who else's life is it going to change? What would you like to do when you have that output? Is it for your family? Is it for travel? Is it for whatever? And I think this Jack Canfield quote, clarify your purpose. What is the why behind everything you do? When we know this in life or design, it's empowering and the path becomes more clear. And so I think with trading, I love that the path is clear because when we know that there's all these things that we want to do, then we know we need to honor our risk management. We know we need to wait for our best setups, and we know we need to continually study and refine our trade system so that we can keep getting better as traders. And I didn't put any drugs in this presentation, my friend Major, but I'm not going to judge. I think you want to keep your goals physically visible is the point of this one. So you could put that on your monitor, on your wall, on your journal. Do I feel like this has helped me? Yes. I feel like focusing on all of these things actually really has helped me. So it's a great question, and I appreciate you asking it because I think being in the most stable place before the market opens is the most powerful approach to executing to my best of my abilities. If I come in scatterbrained and frustrated and pissed off about a conversation last night and not prepared and not settled, I don't do as well. So, yes. So habit number 9, final trade plan prep. So the chunk of the middle of this conversation has been about your psychology and settling yourself down and coming to the market focused and a steady, abundant mindset and knowing why you're doing this for your day. And so for this last section here, this is a non-negotiable, right? You have to do this, in my opinion, before you pull a trade. You're going to need to look back at the market before the market opens or before your trade session begins. And you're going to want to double check your levels, adjust them as needed based on the overnight information, define your A+ setups that could potentially happen in that day. And in that way, you can plan what your trade potential might be. And so where you would be interested in a long position or a short position, and in those positions, what stop you would do, what risk you would take, and your take profit levels. And then you want to review any pertinent data or news for that day. Always check Forex Factory before the market opens so that you make sure you're not missing anything. And then you want to identify also what it would look like to have a no trade condition type of situation play out. And so also just clarifying what you would like to see, how you're going to trade it. Success is where preparation and opportunity meet, is my quote on this one. And I love that because when you are prepared for what a great trade might look like and it starts to play out, you will be more calm and confident to execute on that opportunity when you see it. And the plan, having this thought out plan that you started the night before, right? We started this session today talking about doing some work the night before to set yourself up. And then the morning of, you want to fine tune this plan before your trading session itself starts. And so that plan will protect you from emotionally trading more so than not being prepared, right? Review your trade plan right before the bell. That way you do feel the most settled that you can. So I think that this is really powerful, and I think that this needs to be a part of every trader's approach. And so these are some different things. I covered some of them in the previous slide, but just to have a little bit more detail, these are things that you really are important that you do. And if you don't do these before your trading setup, before your trading session starts, I would encourage you to look at yourself and your trading system and figure out what you could be missing and what could help support it, So what's your bias coming in, bearish or bullish, and why? And have that kind of circle around the higher time frame context. And so in that way, you have your critical levels drawn based on those time frames, and then consider what volatility you might expect, just given what external forces might happen in the day, such as the federal announcements, and then plan your potential setups. And so your hypothesis could be, if we were to break this level upward, then I would want to pull back to this level, and then to see this sort of a data on my chart that would interest me in a long. What your max daily loss would be always needs to be planned out, because your accounts need to be able to survive day over day. And you want to not be paying constant reset fees if you can avoid it. And so by honoring a daily risk, it's going to help you have some more longevity and create a stronger discipline with your trading plan as well. And so I love this, having a clear pre-market checklist, because checklists kind of remove the uncertainty. And so if you can develop a system that speaks to you for creating your plan before you execute a trade, you're going to be stronger when it comes time to execute. And so I don't know a lot of traders that are professionals that just fly off the seat of their pants, right? They don't rely on that memory and that instinct alone. They prepare. That way, when the opportunity does present, they're ready. You're going to be quicker on the entry. You're going to understand your risk management and not have to think it through so much in the moment. It leads to more precise trading and less sloppy trading. All right, guys, one last one that you might consider putting into your pre-market plan and your early trading session, and that is the centering breath work. And this kind of brings the whole thing together. And for me, this is a non-negotiable as well. So I definitely always, before I start to trade, I will finish my hypothesis. When I have my best pre-market setup, I will finish my hypothesis and have a general plan on what I'm looking for in the day. And then I will literally close my eyes so that I stop looking at the charts. And I will calm my nervous system down, slow my heart rate and my breath work, and do centering breath work that helps to bring me back into my body and calms my nervous system. And then it enhances my focus, similar to how a meditation session would work, just a micro meditation session, essentially. And that can help reduce impulsivity, and it can reduce the impulsivity at market open. When that volatility starts hitting, sometimes it can make you want to start clicking right away. And that drive is real. The body benefits from movement, and the mind benefits from stillness. I love that, because your mind is stronger when you take time to quiet the noise. And like I said, I tend to go faster than I ought to a lot of the days. And so for me, taking time to do these deep breaths really does help me be more calm in the moment. Breathing, I love when you consider it as a performance tool, not just like something like woo-woo or whatever that is out there in the world, but using it right before your entries, or when you get in a trade, you set your stop, you set your target, and then you need to not micromanage it. You need to trust your system and your plan and your edge that you set up. Well, breath work right there can really help you kind of stabilize and hold through the times when there's volatility, makes you want to do impulsive choices. If you can slow yourself down, it's really valuable. There's literal neuroscience behind how it slows down your brain and your stress response, and it pulls you back into the focus energy that you need to be prioritizing when you're executing your trades. And so there's different styles with that. The box breathing we talked about last week, that the military teaches and requires their highest teams to do, because it keeps them steady, strong, still, quiet, focused. And that's just the inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4, and then repeat. And that alone, if you think of nothing else, that's just a nice box breathing that will pull down your whole fight or flight response and pull you back into your functional mindset. And then there's a lot of different techniques out there that you can read about and see what speaks to you. There's a lot about a longer exhale, generally tends to be more stabilizing, but just try and practice different things to get your body to come down a couple notches in terms of an anxiety level. This one in the picture is actually something that a good friend taught me, is the single nostril breathing, which I didn't know. Alternating nostril breathing is a yoga technique where you inhale and exhale through one nostril at a time while using your finger to gently close the other. And then it can help calm your mind and balance the brain hemispheres and reduce stress. So even just another technique there. I love that. Yeah. Value trader, breath is the anchor. And so for me, when I remember to do it, I have such a different trading day because I am more calm and I don't overanalyze and I don't fire off at every false signal potentially. Instead, I stay focused on my slightly larger time frame and my plan, and not monkeying with my levels once I identify where they're at and how I want to adjust my my take profit and stuff. So box breathing, yeah, that one is the most widely taught breathing technique everywhere that I have found. And that's the one that is advertised as being taught in the military. And that is the 4 count breath, where you inhale for 4 counts, slow counts. And then you hold it at the top, hold all that air in for 4 count. And then you exhale for 4 count. And then you hold for a 4 count and you just repeat it. Think of a literal box, 4 equal sides. And then you can do that in whatever time that you have, but do at least 3 or 4. And that will have the biggest impact in slowing down your literal body vital signs, but also your brain's rapid firing. And so it can help slide you back from a fight or flight you could be creeping into and help you stay in a focused headspace where you can operate to your best of your ability. Yeah, actually, my good friend Yeshwant, who's been on here and there, has taught me the single nostril breathing. And Major, I don't know that I have met you before, but you're hitting me with some legit questions, my friend. I am a more anxious, high energy person. Some people on here know this, but I have been an ER nurse for many, many years. And so that it's 12 hours in fight or flight in the trenches. I'm in Portland, Oregon. And so I function well under stress. I don't mind it. I don't mind operating in a fight or flight situation. And that actually was a detriment to me in day trading because I don't fear aggression or fight or flight situations. And so I often would over leverage and I would, allow too much leeway on my trades because I wouldn't be afraid of the drawdown. And so I've had to adjust in that way. But for me, that's probably why in this, I'm like, you guys got to bring it down to a nice, even base in order to execute from, because yeah, you get it. Yeah. The whole point of this conversation is a great point that you are bringing up, Major, is that when the market opens and the candles start to print, volatility hits and your nervous system is going to respond. It will, on almost every single human I've ever met, make you want to hit buy or sell, make that money. You're here to trade. You're here to make money. Let's get it. Let's get it done. Let's get it locked in, especially in your early years as a trader. And I experienced that for sure. And so for me, I needed techniques in order to bring myself down to earth and stay level, stay focused, focus on my trade plan, focus on my hypothesis and my levels that I identified before that volatility hit, both on the charts and in my personal psychology. That way I could execute to the best of my ability per my system. And so these techniques that we're covering today, definitely there's a couple of them that are technical, but a lot of them are about putting your body and your psychology and your mind in the best base place in order to make the best choices. And I think as traders, if we can do that, if that can be our priority, it's going to get us the better outcomes. And that's actually where I'm at with the next slide. So great lead in there. So I think a complete routine has to include certain things for your pre-market trading, for your best outcomes. Now, not everybody's going to be perfect, and not every day are we going to be perfect. Excuse me. Because we're humans. But I think it's important to have some technical prep work, mental prep work, physical prep work, and emotional prep work, because your edge is not only your chart system, but bigger than that, it's your state of mind. It's who you are when you are executing your trades. Are you calm, organized, focused, and precise? Or are you kind of scattered all over the place, flying off the seat of your pants? You're going to get different results depending on how you approach it from. And so I think that it's that I actually threw together, I am West Coast. And so this is kind of an example of where I try to do my mornings. And so depending on where you're at, you can adjust the times. But like this is a sample of what it could look like. So you set your alarm 5:15, say, and you wake up. And like I said, when your head is still on the pillow, go to those gratitude thoughts of where you're already abundant, and wake up and come into this world with abundant energy. Yes, value trader, abundant energy, and visualize how you want your day to go, who you want to be at the charts, how you execute on your system to the best of your ability, how you honor your trading plan, and who you're going to be, and have that be the first place your mind goes, not on social media or any actionable business on your phone or what have you, but instead on that positive, uplifting energy. And then I get out of bed. And so, excuse me for 1 second. Depending on where you're at, for me, some movement and audio content, if I get up in time, is just some stretching in the morning. And I like my morning playlist that I created. I really, it's got 15 songs and it's amazing. I'm not going to lie. I'll share it on here one time in the chat, maybe if you guys want to hear what I listen to. But then I want to get to my charts by 40 minutes before the market open, because I like to have a full like 20, 30 minutes to review my levels and my trade plan and adjust my level, adjust what I was thinking the night before, update it, write out my hypothesis. You can either do it on pen and paper or in a document. That way you are literally saying, if this level looks good for the longs, this is what a trade would look like. This would be my risk. This would be the targets for a bullish position, and inversely another adjustment also. And so then I like to say the last 5 to 10 minutes before the market opens for me, for that quiet breath work. Again, a focused visualization period. You can do, there's different guided meditations on YouTube that are really great, that are just like 5 minutes sometimes, for abundance and focus and discipline. And so just by bringing myself down basically to a steady, calm, abundant base is super powerful. And I think you have to adjust it to your lifestyle. The clock shouldn't matter so much, but you want to make it work for you. And so Major, your question about working out, I love to work out every day that I can. I still work at the hospital, so on those days I can't schedule wise, but my system with it is I am West Coast. And so for me, once I start working out, I don't want to stop. Like I really like getting a good sweat on. And so I will just do stretching before I trade, because I find that when I tried it, I was late to my charts and actually like misbehaving on the other things I wanted to do, because I wanted to do, you know me, value trader. I want to get in the full rep and I want to do the full cool down. And so, so for me, I save my exercise session for after my trading session, because it works for me in that way, because it pulls me off the candles. I get to stop trading. I don't overtrade. I don't revenge trade as much. And generally that's at New York lunchtime, when the trades aren't as ideal anyway, per my system and my edge. And so that's when I prefer to get my full workout in. So with my example timeline for my pre-market routine, I don't get a full exercise session in, but I do like to move my body and get some positive audio content in when I'm like, putting on my lotion and stuff in the morning. Good questions. We should talk again about like a whole body routine and stuff, but I definitely have like I think hobbies and exercise and positive people around you are really helpful with keeping anxiety and stress in check when trading is such a high energy, high stress situation that we get into. And that kind of actually, again, leads into this next slide, that just some other tips around this whole period of setting yourself up for the best success that I think is really important to say. And that is, you really ought to get as much sleep as you can. And everyone is different with this. Like some people need a full 8 hours of sleep to feel energized and able to focus in the morning. Some people, it's more like 6 is okay. But you shouldn't generally trade if you're not getting an ideal sleep, because the brain just literally scientifically doesn't fire as quickly. You're not as sharp. So you're going to miss little things if you routinely are sleep deprived. Same thing with your nutrition. If you are underfed, underwatered, you don't have the macros to sustain high functioning, rapid fire brain functioning, it's not going to be quite as ideal. And then avoiding social media before the bell. And I'm definitely a proponent of that. And that was something that I had to learn. When you're not a trader, all kind of habits we can get away with, to be honest with you. But when I started doing trading, like I had to cut all of that out in the morning, because that social media brings up all kinds of different things for different people, but it's not going to improve your trading. I'm just going to say it's just that for me, maybe it's who my people are. I don't know, but it's not something that helps make me a stronger trader. So I don't give it time in the morning. And then no trading for the first 5 to 15 minutes if there's no clear system. Things like these can be part of your approach to your trading. If you have found that in the first volatility where it's creating that opening range in the first 5 to 15 minutes, you tend to get chopped up, identify that in your journaling and cut it. Stop trading when your emotional baseline falters as well. So that can be different for everyone. Sometimes it's one red trade and you're already going to start to tilt. Well, catch yourself and don't trade anymore. And if we can start to identify this sooner, you're going to get less deep into trouble. And these are the not sexy habits, but the real habits of taking it seriously to dramatically improve your decision making by recognizing things that are toxic to you and cutting them. I don't stimulants on trading is tricky. So but we're all this is part of what I approach when I have these psychology labs at market close on Tuesday at Blue Sky. I have said, I think in every single one, that whatever you do with what I am saying, it has to work for you. It has to work with your body chemistry, your home life, your approach, your trading edge. You have to deal with who you are as a human, and then you have to adjust and figure out what is making you sabotage and figure out what is making you succeed. And different people's bodies will need different things, in terms of sleep, in terms of hygiene, in terms of exercise first or later. It needs to work with your time frame. And so honestly, you guys we're bringing it all together. Customize this. Okay. So there was 10 habits that we covered today. This will be posted on YouTube probably tomorrow, so you can rewatch it if you would like. But customize it and include at least one emotional habit, one mental habit, a physical habit, and a technical habit. And just when you make it your own, it builds your own ownership with it. And ownership of your system will breed that consistency. And so that's why I'm glad that you're curious. That's why I opened it up and I didn't niche it down to my 5 or 6 favorites, because generally I will do my 5 or 6 favorites and I will prioritize them and they're non-negotiable for me. But I don't do all 10 of these because I just won't. I have kids. I'm on the West Coast. I don't have a ton of time. And I know what works best for me, what speaks to my psychology, and what gives me the best space to execute to my best of my abilities. And so that's what I want you all to do. That's what I would encourage you all to do with what you're saying today. In fact, I'm going to straight up challenge you to come back and talk to me again on these Tuesday afternoon labs, but to change it up, to recognize that maybe you're not doing everything that best suits you, and to choose a couple more habits, lock them in, do them consistently, track them daily. Are you doing the habits that you think will bring you the most benefit for your trading system? And then review your trading performance. You're welcome. I'm glad that you're here, Major. I think that we all can learn together. I think that every one of us can ask questions and talk this stuff out and see what works for other people and think about our own system. You don't have to tell me, you don't have to tell anyone, but you should tell yourself what you feel like is serving you and what isn't, and then fine tune your approach to all of it so that you do, get the best outcome that you're worth. We are here to be successful traders. And so we've got to adjust continuously and show up for the work of that, because that consistency and that constant adjustment to what we need will compound over time. And so I think just letting it grow, letting it build, letting it speak to you, recognizing I tried this and I didn't like it and it was stressing me out, so I'm going to try something else. And there really is so many different ways to approach it. There's different styles. Like I said, with meditation, there's different, there's different techniques with the breathing. And so try different things. and figure out how you can be your most successful self, because like that's the whole point of what we're doing as traders. That's the reason why we show up for this work, why you guys are here at this lab on your Tuesday afternoon with me, is because I think that we all want to be successful, but there are things that we can get better at, myself included. And I love, if you guys haven't read Atomic Habits, you absolutely have to. But that's author James Clear, and this is one of his most common quotes. It's, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And so if we can each systematize our pre-market routine a little bit, track it for yourself. But I would wager that we're all going to have better outcomes at the end of a month by locking into our system and having the strongest base to which to execute from. One second. So sorry, you guys. I'm coming out of a cold here. So that is where I'm at, you guys. I really appreciate everyone's time today. Do you have any thoughts on what you're going to change, what you're going to adjust, what habit resonates with you most that you would like to say you really appreciate? And yeah, I do feel like I have reached a level of success in trading that I'm so grateful to be at, honestly. I feel like the person that I have grown into as a trader over these last few years has been transformative. And I think that's why Mike kind of pulled me into this role here, is because I am not uncomfortable with these conversations. I think it's valuable to say that this is hard, and facing the psychological struggles that I was having when I was inconsistent has been the game changer for me. I think continually growing my technical edge, of course, has been essential, but calming down my energy and recognizing that exactly one day at a time, and doing little tweaks, and then paying attention to if the tweaks are serving me and speaking to who I want to be as a trader, that has been what has helped me shift. And it hasn't been overnight. And I would like to make millions more than I have already made. But I don't need to force it. Like, I recognize that I am still, even now, locking in and getting better as a stable, situated, confident trader. And this conversation, this work is what has changed me, what is changing me, these conversations that I am comfortable having with you guys, because I think it brings value to all of us. It's good for me. I've been trading for 4.5 years. It'll be 5 years in March. Let's see. So Major, you're in it, my friend. 2 years was, oh, you're young. Yeah. 2 years was a hard year for me, if I'm being honest with you. Year 2 of trading was a hard year for me, because I knew enough to take some really good trades, but I did not have my psychology dialed in at all. And so I think that's when same, my friend. And so I appreciate you asking questions, because I think there is a period where we kind of got to face the music and respect that if we're going to be a trader, it has to be your business. And so to figure out the areas that, if you have massive losing days, what can you do? What can you implement to start cutting the blood loss sooner? Can you tourniquet that crap off? And so you're not getting into these dangerous situations where you have to dig out of these holes. I think that is something to really consider. And so I think just all of us, I'm going to wrap up the session here in a minute. And so the whole core of it, you guys, is you have to treat your whole body and your whole mind and your whole approach holistically. You have to keep on the technical edge and fine tuning it, back testing, getting better with that. But you also have to recognize that you need to be your strongest, most stable mind in order to execute your edge, or you're just going to falter at the first sign of stress. And so figuring out different techniques, such as the 10 we covered today, in order to set yourself up for the strongest base to which to execute from, I think is going to give you the best long-term ability to manage it. Casually trading to professionally from a mental standpoint. Honestly, it's been gradual for me. I am still a nurse. I work every Friday at the hospitals because I don't want to push it too fast, because that can cause some emotional tilt as well, which we talked about in another lab. But I think just letting it go over time, like seeing the forest through the trees kind of energy of I trade every day. And so, technically that's a full-time trader, but I also have a very abundant life. I'm still a part-time nurse. I have my own podcast. I'm doing some coaching here at Blue Sky. And so I think by not putting hyper fixation on each day's P&L, it's honestly a gentler approach as well to stability in this game, because I can constantly fine tune and journal and adjust, but my whole worthiness is not tied to my day's P&L. And I think that helps weather the hard periods as well. Yeah, don't punch your screen. That doesn't help with finances. Yeah. Oh, that's what I'm trendy trader. I'm literally going to write this down as a topic that I should do a lab about transitioning from trading and your other work, because I think that is such an important conversation. I mean, I took my first payout over 2 years ago from a funding company, and I have been taking consistent payouts since then. It varies month to month based on what I have going on, but I think that's a bigger conversation. So I'm gonna make a note. We're gonna cover that because I've downsized my nursing since I've been a trader, and now I just don't want to for all kinds of reasons. But great question, and I think it's variable, and you have to be able to pay your bills before you lose your day job. So that's the core of my answer. But yes, you guys, that's our time for today. I really appreciate your comments and your time and being here with me today. Yeah, don't put all your eggs in one basket tomorrow. You are on point, my friend. I appreciate the dialogue and the interaction. And if you guys have any questions on these, hit me up in Discord. And I doing some, excuse me, some live streaming tomorrow during the market hours as well. We have FOMC tomorrow, and then these recordings will go up on the Blue Skies YouTube channel the next day or two, so you can rewatch it there, take notes if you need to. But I am here for you guys if you have any questions. I appreciate your time on this Tuesday afternoon, like I said. And Coach Matt, his lab is every Thursday at market close, and he's getting more into the technicals on those, and I dig into a little bit more of the psychology, and so we kind of tag team those labs. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time. I really appreciate you showing up, and we'll be back with another psychology lesson next Tuesday and back on the charts in the morning. Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening.